All right, for this week's assignment, you will be recording a version of Happy Birthday. And the version that we're going to do of Happy Birthday is in a particular key that uses some black keys in the melody. So I wanted to point that out in the score before we jump into it. So if you take a look at the sheet music here, we have 70 beats per minute. Here are your notes. D, D, E, D, G, and then we have the note F sharp. All right, on the piano, you probably know where F is, but you may not know where F sharp is. We did play it last week in last week's assignment, but it wasn't really clearly identified for you, so you may not know where that is. So you find the key for F, and then you go up a half step, or you go to the adjacent note to the right, which is the next black key right above F, one half step higher or pitched higher than the F, and that is the note F sharp, right? And you're gonna play it here, and you're also gonna play it here. All right, so as you are playing the melody, that's an important thing for you to determine. All right, the other thing that's gonna be important for you kind of going into this is that we have a new time signature right now. And time signature is something that happens that is notated at the beginning of every piece of music. And usually it's 4/4. Usually there are 4 beats in every single measure. But for the song Happy Birthday, there are only 3 beats in every single measure. What that means is there's a natural accent that falls every third note. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. As opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like most songs kind of fall into that general feel. All right, but Happy Birthday doesn't. Happy Birthday falls into 3/4. So we need to change our project settings to make sure that 3/4 is going to be our time signature for the project. Another thing that I want to point out right now is that the first 2 beats of this song are rests. All right, these squiggly lines right here are rests. So we count 1, 2, happy birthday, and then you notice that the first chord doesn't even come in until the second measure. It doesn't even start on the first measure. It's just melody on the first measure. So these are all important things to know going into this project. So you might want to rewind and remind yourself of all these things, and then we're going to go ahead now and jump into our project. All right, so we're going to start with the melody on this assignment. And I need to check the BPM. It's 70 beats per minute. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is change my BPM. The other thing I'm going to do next is change my time signature to 3/4. All right. So now if you look closely, each one of these measures is now divided up into 3 segments instead of 4. And that's going to be really helpful for us to follow along here. All right, so let's determine first what our main instrument is going to be. And let's go ahead and make it a string, maybe a solo violin here, right? So let's go ahead. We're going to start with the X. All right, here we go. We got to wait. We're gonna wait for 2 beats when the song starts. It's going to give us 3 little clicks to get us in, and then we're going to wait 2 more measures. Sorry, 2 more beats, and then we're going to come in with the melody. So again, we have 3 prep clicks that will kind of start us into measure 1, and then once measure 1 starts, we have to wait 2 more beats. So we're going to hear 5 clicks on the metronome before we actually start playing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. The metronome was not on. Let me try that again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. think we got all the notes in there now. All right, so now let's go ahead and fill out the rest of our arrangement. And so I'm going to add a new track. And piano sounds good. And let's see here. Let's move up the octave. G, C, and D. All right. And in, yeah. Okay. So again, we start playing the chords on measure 2, not on measure 1. Don't bring this in too early. I'm going to put my string melody here. And then piano chords. Just to be clear. All right. So let's go ahead and give this a go. Want this up the octave. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, I think we got everything in there. Now we're going to add our bass. All right. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just to give it a nice ending. All right. And one thing we're going to need to do now is create a drum pattern. But you can't create a drum pattern like you did before because now our time signature has changed. And when your time signature changes, your drum pattern must also change. We can't just use the same kind of pattern. So I'll show you a typical drum pattern for a song that's in 3/4. All right, so notice that our drum kit here, I'm gonna go back to our rock kit. You'll notice that the pattern sets up for 16 counts here, but we don't want it to be 16, we want it to be 12 because we're talking about 3 big beats here, okay? The first 4 is the first beat, the second 4 is the second beat, and the third 4 is the third beat. We're not even gonna use this at all. All right, so I'm gonna put my snare now, instead of being on 2, I'm gonna put my snare on 3. I'm gonna keep my hi-hats. All right, so this is what it sounds like. Which is gonna be fine for this. So now I'm gonna add this in. We don't want it on the first bar, we want it to be on the second bar. So make sure I move it over. You know what, one thing I wanna do, I wanna add one more kick to the end of the second beat. That better. Okay, and I'm just gonna use this for the whole thing until that very last chord. I'm gonna create a new pattern, get rid of, actually I'll use C because it's blank, and I'm gonna do kick and crash and add this in on my last bar here. All right, so putting this all together. free to be creative with it. All right. Just the main thing is I always want you guys to think about how you end your songs. A lot of people, they just kind of do the requirements of the assignment and the song just kind of ends without any kind of like finality. And it's important that when you're building your music production skills that you're starting and ending your songs appropriately. All right. So that's, I believe, all you need to do for this assignment. I'm just going to double check, make sure I'm not missing anything here. Oh, vocals. Yeah, I want you to, someone to sing along here. So I want you to add one more track. And remember, when you add a vocal track, it's going to be using the voice and mic feature. All right, and once you do that, happy birthday to you. And you can just say, happy birthday, dear someone, or I don't care who you sing it to. You can sing it to whoever you want, but just sing it to somebody. And it doesn't have to be you. It just has to be somebody. It could be a sibling, a friend, a family member. So you can embarrass someone else, or if you want to, you know, record yourself, that's totally fine too. But just make sure and record somebody singing the part. So I want you to get used to blending all these things together. And then of course, you know, you can adjust your mix to taste here using your volume controls here and your panning. You know, make sure you don't pan everything through the center. Kind of mix it up a little bit so we get some variety. All right, so 5 tracks, a melody, your chords, your bass, label this should be bass, drums, and then your voice. And then save this as happy birthday, and you're good to go. All right, have fun.